In late 2025, the mystery of the M Cave exploded back into the mainstream. References in global pop culture, like the latest season of Stranger Things, have introduced a whole new generation to Kenny's story. But while Hollywood uses it for fiction, the real-world facts are far more terrifying.
In November 2014, a 47-year-old man walked into the Nevada desert near Area 51, searching for something that shouldn't exist. Armed with a 9mm handgun, he was driven by thousands of internet strangers demanding proof. He told his girlfriend he'd be back in a day. That was 10 years ago. His body has never been found. His last known location? An abandoned mine shaft deep in the most dangerous terrain near America's most secretive military base. But before he vanished, Kenny Veach posted about a cave shaped like the letter M that made his body vibrate with fear. A cave he was warned never to enter, because if he did, he'd never come out. This is the story of the M Cave mystery and what happened to the man who went looking for it. Kenny Veach wasn't just another internet personality chasing clones. This guy was the real deal. A Las Vegas local who'd spent over 20 years hiking the Mojave and Great Basin deserts, Kenny ran a YouTube channel called Snakebitmgee, where he documented his solo adventures into some of the most remote and dangerous terrain in Nevada. And when I say dangerous, I mean it. Kenny would regularly venture into areas dotted with abandoned mine shafts, some used by the military for chemical disposal. He'd hike for days with nothing but a candy bar, a bottle of water, and his handgun. He collected animal skulls, old traps, and curiosities from the desert, decorating his house with them like trophies. Kenny himself said it best in one of his comments: "I solo hike across mountaintops that most people wouldn't dare go. I have been in more caves than I can count. I play with rattlesnakes for fun." Even for someone as experienced and fearless as Kenny Veach, there was one cave that was different, one cave that terrified him. It all started in June 2014, when Kenny was browsing YouTube and came across a video titled "Son of an Area 51 Technician." The video discussed alleged secrets from inside the infamous military base. Kenny decided to leave a comment, and what he wrote would change everything. He described a recent hike near Nellis Air Force Base, just south of Area 51. During that hike, he'd discovered something unusual: a hidden cave with an entrance shaped like a perfect capital M. Now, Kenny had explored hundreds of caves in his lifetime. He never hesitated. He always went in. But this cave was different. As he approached the M-shaped entrance, something strange started happening. His entire body began to vibrate. It wasn't his imagination. It wasn't dehydration. It was a physical sensation that got stronger the closer he got. And then came the fear, overwhelming, inexplicable terror that made this experienced desert veteran turn around and run back to his car. "That was one of the strangest things that ever happened to me," he wrote. Little did Kenny know, that single comment would set off a chain of events that would lead to his disappearance. Kenny's comment exploded online. Hundreds of people flooded the thread, demanding answers. Where exactly was this cave? What caused the vibrations? Was it connected to Area 51? Some people were skeptical, suggesting Kenny was lying or hallucinating from dehydration. Others were genuinely intrigued, begging him to go back and document his findings. The pressure mounted. Finally, Kenny decided to return. In October 2014, he grabbed his video camera and his 9mm handgun and headed back into the desert. The hike would take roughly 10 hours round trip through what he described as very dangerous terrain. The cave was located in a mountain range right next to a bombing range, making the journey even more treacherous. But when Kenny arrived at the location where he thought the cave should be, he couldn't find it. Despite searching extensively, the M cave had seemingly vanished. In his video, Kenny found a tarantula, a desert tortoise, and a bighorn ram, but no mysterious cave. The internet's reaction was brutal. Comments poured in, accusing him of making the whole thing up, of wasting everyone's time, of being a fraud. But there was one comment that stood out from all the rest. One comment that now reads like a prophecy. It said, "No, do not go back there. If you find that cave entrance, don't go in. You won't get out." November 10th, 2014. Frustrated by the criticism and determined to prove himself, Kenny Veach decided to try one more time. He told his girlfriend, Sherian Pilgrim, that he was going on a short, overnight trip into the desert. He packed light, as always. But this time, there was something different. He didn't bring his video camera. He had no intention of filming anything. He did, however, bring his 9mm handgun. Kenny loaded up his white Honda CR-V and drove to the trailhead in the Sheep Mountain Range. The area he was heading to was notorious. Beyond the danger of the terrain itself, the region had a dark reputation. It was known for drug activity and had even been used as a dumping ground for murder victims. Old mine shafts, some over 100 feet deep, dotted the landscape like open graves. Search and rescue teams later estimated that Kenny would have needed to hike approximately 10 hours to reach the vicinity of the M Cave and return to his car. 10 hours through some of the most isolated and challenging desert terrain in America. Kenny Veach set off into that desert and was never seen again. When Kenny didn't return the next day, Sherian reported him missing. A massive search operation launched, involving local volunteers and the Nevada Search and Rescue Team. Helicopters swept the area, ground teams scoured the desert. Days passed with no sign of Kenny. Then, on November 22nd, 12 days after he disappeared, searchers made a discovery. Kenny's cell phone was found near an abandoned mine shaft in the Sheep Mountain Range. His white Honda CR-V was located at the trailhead, right where his girlfriend said it would be. But that was it. No camping gear, no backpack, no body, and most notably, no 9mm handgun. It was as if Kenny Veach had simply walked into the desert and vanished into thin air. The official search was eventually called off. Kenny was declared missing, presumed dead. But without a body, without any real evidence of what happened, the case remained open. And that's when the theories started spreading across the internet like wildfire. The first and most popular theory? The government made Kenny disappear. Think about it. He was hiking near Nellis Air Force Base, right next to Area 51, one of the most secretive military installations on Earth. What if that M cave wasn't just a cave? What if it was a hidden entrance to an underground facility? What if Kenny had stumbled upon classified military operations that he wasn't supposed to see? According to this theory, when Kenny went back that third time, he found the cave again. And this time, he went inside. Maybe he discovered advanced technology being tested. Maybe he saw something related to the alleged UFO programs. Whatever it was, the military couldn't let him leave. Some versions of this theory suggest Kenny was taken into custody and is being held at an undisclosed location. Others believe he was eliminated to protect national security. The evidence supporting this theory is mostly circumstantial.
The proximity to Area 51, the strange vibrations he described that could be advanced technology or underground machinery, the ominous warning comment telling him not to go back, and the fact that absolutely no trace of him was found despite extensive searches. But here's the problem. If the military wanted to disappear someone, why leave his phone and car? Wouldn't they clean up everything to avoid suspicion? The second theory is far less dramatic, but potentially more likely. Kenny Veach died in a tragic accident in the unforgiving Nevada desert. Remember those abandoned mine shafts I mentioned? The Sheep Mountain Range is riddled with them, some over 100 feet deep. In the darkness or confusion, Kenny could have fallen into one and been killed instantly. His body could still be down there, hidden in the depths where searchers couldn't see. Or maybe he entered the M cave after all, went too deep, and suffered from hypoxia, lack of oxygen in enclosed underground spaces. Desert caves can be death traps with sudden drops, unstable ground, and pockets of toxic gases. Perhaps the vibrations Kenny felt were actually his body's warning system detecting something wrong with the air quality. There's also the possibility of wildlife. Mountain lions inhabit the area, and a surprise encounter could be fatal. Dehydration and heat exhaustion could have led to disorientation, causing Kenny to wander off course and collapse somewhere the search teams never looked. The desert is vast and unforgiving. Bodies can remain hidden for decades. This theory is supported by the harsh reality of desert survival statistics. Every year, experienced hikers disappear in the Southwest and are never found. The terrain is simply too vast, too dangerous, too unforgiving. Then there's the theory that Kenny's girlfriend, Sherry Pilgrim, believes to be true, and it's the darkest one of all. Months after Kenny's disappearance, Sherry posted a comment on his YouTube video explaining what she thought really happened. According to her, Kenny had been battling severe depression for years. About a year before he vanished, he'd quit his job as a coffee company service technician to pursue becoming an inventor. But things weren't going well financially. He was deep in debt and struggling. Sherry revealed something else. Kenny's father had died by suicide in a remote location when Kenny was younger. The pattern was eerily similar. On the day of his final hike, Kenny deliberately left his video camera behind. He brought his 9mm handgun. He told Sherry he'd be back, but she now believes he had no intention of returning. According to this theory, the M Cave story, the mystery, the drama, it was all a cover, a way to disappear into the desert without his loved ones immediately assuming the worst, a way to give them hope, even if it was false hope. Sherry believes Kenny went to an isolated location, somewhere searchers would never find him, and took his own life. The missing handgun supports this theory. If he'd been in an accident, the gun would likely have been near his body or his belongings. As we enter 2026, over a decade has passed since Kenny walked into the Sheep Mountains. New hikers, inspired by recent media, are once again scouring the Nevada desert with modern drone technology and infrared sensors, hoping to find what Kenny found. But as of today, December 30th, desert remains silent.